Everybody. A really warm welcome to this week's PPMA webinar. I hope everybody is well, and thank you so much everybody for joining us this afternoon. My name's Andy Dobman and I'm one of the Vice Presidents for PPMA, and I'll be hosting today's 30-minute seminar. My day job is the Chief HR Officer at Leeds City Council, and I'm really delighted to be here and to join you. And today, for the next half an hour, we're going to cover one of those themes that has probably occupied a lot of our time and effort over the last few months, which is that of workforce recruitment. I'm really pleased that today we're joined by Jason Collis, who's the Sales Director for Tribepad. Tribepad, I'm sure Jason will say a bit about them, but is a really big supporter of PPMA, one of our premium sponsors, so really pleased Jason is with us. And also joined too by Gillian Davis, who's the HR Resource Manager for Milton Keynes Council. Before I hand over to Jason and Gillian, just a few really quick housekeeping things from me. As always, please do keep your mics on mute. Please also use the chat functionality. So as Gillian and Jason are talking, please do put any questions or observations on the chat. And as we progress over the next half an hour, I'm sure Jason and Gillian will endeavour to answer your questions if they can. If we've got a bit of time at the end, I'm sure we can pick up any outstanding questions as well. So I think that's probably it from me. So over to you, Jason.
Great stuff. Andy, thanks ever so much. Thanks for chairing the session, and Grace, thanks ever so much for the organisation as well. And a special thanks out to Gilly as well for joining, offering to tell Milton Keynes' story, which I know that you're all really excited to hear. So I'm Jason Collis. I'm the sales lead here at Tribepad, and I guess during my sort of 25 plus years of working in recruitment technology, I've been lucky enough to work with, dare I say it, most local authorities up and down the country, many of whom, thank you, who have joined the call today. Helping them either adopt technology for the first time or migrate to new, more innovative technology to support HR recruiting leaders to deliver all of your respective council plans and strategies. So I'm going to talk this for sort of 3 minutes or so, just in regards to Tribepad, and give you an introduction to our organisation. And I guess sort of tracking back to those council strategies and plans, when it comes to delivering them, there is always, to me, there's always a sort of common theme to them. And that common theme is people. And it's the people within your organizations that are so, I guess, absolutely critical to being able to deliver against those council plans and strategy. And our mission at Tribepad is pretty simple, actually, and it's one of essentially providing power, and that power is in the form of the latest, most innovative, most inclusive recruitment technology, helping organizations such as yours to find and select the people that are going to step up and help improve all of the communities that you all so proudly serve. As a business, we've not stopped growing since our 12-year inception, and our technology is now used by some of the nation's most recognised brands and pretty much across all industry sectors. But crucially, we've carved out a significant presence, an ever-growing reputation, and we think an unparalleled level of expertise in partnering with local authorities, again, up and down the country, helping them transform how they go about their recruitment, supporting them to be ambitious and passionate about the people and the places that they serve, helping them realise their visions for change and enabling them to do more with less as a result of all of the significant financial challenges that you guys all continue to face, really. When it comes to our technology, we offer a best-in-class recruitment platform that includes an ATS and an onboarding module, and it's very core, as you can see from the deck there. And the platform itself, it's trusted by in excess of 25 million job seekers annually, and we're proud to say helping those guys find the very perfect job for them. And all of our modules that you see on the screen here, they all pull together, they all seamlessly integrate, enabling our local authority partners to run the most inclusive, the most cost-effective, the most process-efficient end-to-end recruitment journeys. And it's probably also worth noting that the platform is also capable of integrating with any of your HRIS payroll platforms that you may be using. When it comes to our customers, they can be either on their first or second, third, or maybe even fourth investment in applicant tracking technology. But a common theme again is that they continue to tell us that our applicant tracking system is the easiest and the most intuitive to use, which we think is a real significant differentiator for Tribepad. And that is all, I guess, backed up by the quote that you can see here on the screen from Coventry City Council, whose recent survey to their candidates saw Tribepad scoring a monumental 9.2 out of 10 for overall usability. And it should all be noted that we've also helped them slash their overall time to hire by 2/3, which is also incredible as well. But getting back to that experience point, the benefit to our local government customers is that we provide a job seeking experience that candidates absolutely love, and a usability for your hiring manager community that is so simple and straightforward. And those two are two massive ticks in the box when it comes to delivering against some of, if not the most common project objectives that we see and hear about for those local authorities that are considering investing in new recruitment tech. So it's time to get to the story, really. So working with Milton Keynes, it really does promote all of the positive things that I've mentioned previously about working in partnership with local government. Speaking on behalf of Tribepad, we've absolutely loved and enjoyed every moment of the engagement that we've had with the council. It's been professional, it's been open, and we've built some brilliant relationships. Gilly, I think we've been working together now for I think the contract has been in place for 12 months. That includes a 3-month implementation. But even in that very short space of time, I'm so proud that you guys have seen so many game-changing transformational moments within the council. And Gilly, I'm going to hand over to you to basically take the audience through those now.
Okay, thank you so much, Jason. Really appreciate that introduction. Just to let everybody know, I'm Gilly Davis. I am the resourcing manager for Milton Keynes Council. I've been at Milton Keynes Council for probably nearly 20 years. I am a passionate public servant. I absolutely love working for Milton Keynes. You may see on some of our signs as you drive here, different by design, and Milton Keynes is an awesome place. And to be honest, I have to say that before we started our journey with Tribepad, we were doing our citizens and our staff a disservice really with our recruitment. We had, like everything in local government, we had kind of evolved the process and changed the process and mutated the process and done that whole outsource, insource, outsource, insource. And we had got recruitment to a place where, shall we say, we had designed a system that did everything that we needed to functionally and legislatively and kept us safe, but unfortunately the system looked like this. Jason, could you open the slides for me, please? And you're not supposed to be able to read this, don't worry, it's not a terrible PowerPoint malfunction. This is actually what it looked like. I'm not so worried about what the content is almost at this stage. But we were competing in the world that we all know now, which is more competitive than ever, particularly post-pandemic. We couldn't come out of this pandemic with things that look like this. Our managers were responsible for all of recruitment, so they were responsible for everything, right from advert writing to managing candidates through the system, to interviews, to onboarding, to offering, and to contracting. And we have here quite a complex network of an outsourced arrangement with our payroll provider to a third party. And so what we had affectionately done is we had placed responsibility with managers, we had placed transactions with a third-party company, so there was no kind of overall responsibility, and we'd really lost all oversight of the problem. So what was happening was we were borderline in an unsafe situation, because were things being done as they should be, and there wasn't any central controls, nor was there any joy in the experience for anybody. You know, the system, I always hate criticizing the system, because it was developed in-house and it was one step away from brilliant, and unfortunately the step away from brilliant was largely how it looked. You know, it really did do everything like all of the process steps that we would have required, but it was just genuinely, the front end was so ugly and so clunky, and at the back end you couldn't get in and change anything. It was absolutely static. So we thought, right, we've got to go completely back to the garage. Anybody who's ever done any systems thinking, you know, when you actually begin to think about what are we actually trying to achieve here? And what we were trying to achieve, it was really three things. It was, we needed a management experience that was excellent, and we needed a candidate experience that was second to none. They were the two things that we really wanted to crack. And then the third one, really, and this was very much a product of where we were, was that we wanted some control. We wanted a system that actually was responsive enough to respond to recruitment needs at the speed that you need to. You know, any of you who are working in the recruitment space, you know how things change at the drop of a hat. You need to design a new campaign. You want a new, completely new application structure, whatever those things are. You know, say for recruitment requirements have changed, so you've got to get some different checks and balances in place. All of those things are happening all the time. And when you have a system like we've had, like we've very much experienced with our HR system, where the lead time can be 6 months to get anything changed, it just wasn't responsive enough. So we were absolutely adamant, that's it, all of this is going, and we're going to procure a new system. We actually did an in-house restructure, which conceived the resourcing team, which is my team. So I am resourcing manager, but I also have in my arsenal, I have workforce policy and projects. So that's all of HR policy and projects, which was wonderful, because that's a critical arm for getting this right. And I also have workforce intelligence. So I was really lucky that coming to the table effectively, we had Nicole as my wonderful project manager who supported us with this, and the two of us set off on a journey, didn't we, Jason? And
we did indeed.
We went, and anyone who's operating in this space will know, you know, you go to Crown Commercial Services and you start a procurement exercise effectively. What's out there in the space and what can we do? We did a soft market test of, I think, 11 different suppliers. And Jason can pay me for this later, but I am going to tell you this because it's the absolute truth, that right from that moment, as soon as we saw what Tribepad offers, that's what I wanted. I didn't know if I could afford it. I didn't know if, you know, if I would be able to manage to make that work. But right from the beginning, I knew that that was the supplier I wanted. Theirs is the most responsive, easily the most intelligible. And what I loved right from the outset is that they are as passionate about their product as I am about Milton Keynes, and it's about we are about being public servants. And I've never met people quite like that, who right from the beginning as well, everyone I met at Tribepad was utterly invested in what you do, and I've loved working with you. You know how I love passionate people. I love people who care about what they want to do, what they're doing, and who really genuinely believe in that. And that has been our experience right throughout. So we're at the soft market test there, and we're looking at all different suppliers, and there are an awful lot of these systems out there, and there are an awful lot of things that promise an awful lot. And so we came up with a very tight spec on what we wanted. And then we evaluated these suppliers against them, and we got it down to a short list of 3 who we had additional meetings with, and we looked at different things. And all I would say to somebody going through this process is be very, very clear with what you want, because it's very easy to be sold a system that looks amazing, but is potentially offering a solution to a different problem to the one that you have. We saw some amazing things for mass market hires, which actually Tribepad could deliver anyway, but that were really designed in that marketplace about onboarding people. And that's never really going to be where local government is, because of how we operate for a starter, but it just wouldn't have been for us. But so I would say be careful that you don't buy something that is maybe not going to deliver what you need. So be very clear with what your expectations are, and with what your actual needs are. And then we went through that procurement, we funneled it right down, and Tribepad were really competitive. We loved the transparency. I've always shared this all the way through, that it was very clear, like as I'm sure most of you are, we're fighting real budget constraints here, and we were able to, the pricing is totally transparent, and that was absolutely critical. We have experienced an awful lot of having fingers burnt in the past, where we have bought systems that then, oh, well, you didn't actually specify that bit, so that's an additional this. And then, oh, if you want to make that bit talk to this bit, then you're going to have to pay for this, you know, some bridging thing that you had no concept of before. But what was really lovely as well about this journey was that we had an idea of what we wanted, but we're not experts in this field, and Tribepad were really able to fill that gap for me. They were really able to educate me and support me about what's possible, about things that I need to think about, and things that I perhaps wouldn't have even considered. And as well, I think here there's a bit of a point to all of us effectively about not being too wedded to something that perhaps you just haven't understood. We haven't gone for a full front-end integration from our HR system, which is something that I thought I wasn't going to be able to live without. But actually, when we looked at it, and Jason and Matt were wonderful, and they kind of did a real demonstration of kind of what that could look like, but it wasn't actually delivering what I thought it was, which was the control. So it took a real kind of relax your eyes moment to think about this differently, Jill. And so now we just start our advertising process in a slightly different way, and we go from there. So I think what that was a real lovely learning process, that actually the things that you think you need, Joe, are not necessarily the things that you think you need. You can still deliver it. And so what I'm going to show you just now is the system that we've come up with. So Jason, could I have the next slide, please? I mean, hopefully I've done something awful here. I've crushed 4 views onto one slide, so you're not getting the full appreciation of just how clean this is, just how straightforward it is. Anything that you see on these slides has been configured by me and my team. Honestly, any one of you could spend 5 minutes with me to understand how technically unable I am. But actually, it was just so easy to do. To give you a feel for the project, I've obviously, myself and Nicole and Heather's my wonderful analyst. The 3 of us were the core bones of the project, but we also have my recruitment advisor, social media expert, and 2 recruitment administrators involved in the project. But actually the core build of it was delivered by myself, Nicole and Heather. And, you know, we're not technical. Heather is exceptionally able, just to be really clear at all of these things. So I was very spoiled, but actually it was doable. We were completely free to create whatever we wanted. So what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about if you want to think about a different recruitment journey, you want a slightly different application process, then you can build it. What's so wonderful for us as public servants is that you can template everything. So when you're handing things over to your management to get involved in their advert writing, you can give them a template so they're going to be safe, they're not going to expose you to any risk. You can also set in levels of approval so that can come in so that people can have oversight of those adverts before they go out for publication. We have an external broker who does our external advertising, and because of the wonderful reporting in the system, you can just create a report so that they can all go through that process so that things can be picked up. Everything is possible. And that is it still blows my mind, to be honest, that, you know, I went on some safer recruitment update training yesterday, and there's a couple of things that I need to tweak. So this afternoon, I'm going to sit down and tweak those. And I just think that is a concept that most of us in local government with our systems cannot get our heads around. We just don't operate like that. We have never been spoilt like that. So I just think, if you want a fresh approach to something, this is definitely what you're looking for effectively. You know, we are so delighted with the impact that it's had. You know, I think that for poor old Jason, there is still some pain in dealing with the public sector. I mean, do you remember that wonderful moment of the wet signatures, Jason, where our legal team were insisting on wet signatures on documents. So Jason, bless him, was printing things and racing to post offices in a way that neither of us had really anticipated. And they were very tolerant of us in our public sector ways, weren't you? Which was much appreciated.
Good stuff.
You know, we came through these things, and where we are now is we're at a system that has genuinely delivered what we wanted. We are, Jason, can I have the next slide? Is that okay?
Of course, yeah.
What some of these are showing you is they're just showing you some of the initial feedback that we've had. Hazel Lewis, she's our head of IT. She's been with us such a long time. She has been with us on this journey. Hazel and I have spoken systems for as many years as I can remember. And she's very quick to say when she doesn't like something. She's a Scottish lady, do you know what I mean? And she would tell us if it was no good. And the feedback that she said here, you know, the new recruitment is so slick and professional. It's made recruiting a joy, not the nightmare I've previously experienced. As a recruiting manager, can I say, well done? It really is so easy to navigate and saves me so much time. I mean, this is the critical thing here with Milton Keynes' journey. We haven't just put a new system in, we have totally transformed how we do recruitment. So now my team does what I, you know, very appealingly to all my managers, I tell them we do the grunt of recruitment. We are there to do all the checks. We are there to do all of the onboarding to make sure that our candidates are appropriately set up, to do all of the things that, to be honest, were going wrong and that were causing problems. So we're doing all of that, but that's great. That has sorted out that experience. And if you look at it from Suki Gill, she's our new business engagement officer. She was recruited through the system. I wanted to let you know how great the new recruitment website is. Personally, I see it as a great investment of the council's part and much needed. Having used the old site, the new site looks fresh and welcoming. Ultimately, for the end user, the interface is extremely user friendly. I mean, can we look for better than that? That's exactly what we were trying to deliver. You know, a user friendly site that is actually fit for purpose. Suki had actually applied for a role for us in the past, and she'd abandoned it halfway through because she just couldn't face the recruitment process. You know, and it's so slick now, but we are still completely and utterly safe. We still do all the checks and balances that we need to, but in a way that doesn't feel so heavy-handed, doesn't feel so local authority, doesn't feel so painful, that actually we're really developing that engagement. Liz at the bottom, she's our new head of public health in built environment and social housing. She's a lovely lady. She came through as a candidate, and then straight away, because she is in public health, she's been recruiting really heavily. So she's been a candidate and a manager. She said, I just want to say how easy and intuitive I found the system to use. Having used other systems in the past, there is no comparison. Smarter recruitment, that's what we've branded our lovely Tribepad. We call it Smarter Recruitment. It's so well laid out with really clear processes. And I just think that makes me so happy and so proud, because these were the things that we were trying to crack, you know, and that's a wonderful testament to kind of what we have achieved. All I would say is that already we talk about in the team, right, Smarter Recruitment 2.0. For us, we needed to get a product that was going to work, and we needed to move fast, because as you could see, we were in a not great state before. So we had to deploy it as quickly as we could, and I was determined we were going to keep our eyes on the big picture. Let's do 80-20, let's get it working, let's get it up and right, and then let's refine it. So already that's what we're doing. We're constantly changing it, and we can do that because it's in our gift. Every single day we thinking of new ways that we can make it better. Where can we go next? And that's what's so wonderful. So really, we're in the middle of a very exciting journey, but just nice to share it with you, kind of where we're at. I'm conscious that I've talked quite a lot there. I would just really like to finish just quickly on the insights module of Tribepad, because I think that for the local government in particular, this is a real massive win. Tribepad has within it, you saw it on Jason's matrix there, it has a module called Insights. Insights is the reporting module, and it is exceptional. I mean, I did mention at the start, one of the arms of kind of what I'm responsible for is workforce intelligence, but it is phenomenal to have a system that can give you management information at this level. There's nothing it can't tell you. It's going to be so helpful to our diversity and inclusion agenda, to understanding our workforce. It is such a powerful tool, and really has direct translations into how we're going to do our workforce planning and understanding the recruitment place that we've got. So, you know, a real big plug for that. That's been a massive game changer for us. But yeah, I think that's probably where we're at now. I'm sure if you had me back in 6 months, it would have evolved again. And I feel very excited about the journey that we're on. So it's been really lovely to share that with you this morning. Has anybody got any questions for us?
Thank you so much, Gillian. So we do have a bit of time, actually, so we do have 5 minutes, so thanks so much. So I don't think there's been any questions just in the chat, so I guess if Collis could just shout up and shout out if they have anything to ask of Jason or Gillian. I guess what people are thinking, can I just ask you a quick question, Gillian, if you don't mind?
Yeah, of course.
One of the challenges, I guess, because you said it's not just about a system, it's changing the way of recruiting across the council. So if you could just say something a little bit more perhaps about what level of engagement, training, support you had to give to your recruiting managers, because that can sometimes be the tricky bit.
Andy, thank you so much. That's such a wonderful question, and it really was something that I completely left out and I shouldn't have done. Do you know what? It was wonderful because Tribepad is so intuitive that what we've said to it, we've changed our recruitment journey. So the recruitment journey starts with a conversation, basically. Oh, I want to recruit. Okay, what are you recruiting to? And we've actually taken it back so that you just do that as soon as you've got an evaluated role. We don't even have to wait for it to be on our ERP system. So they have a conversation with my team. We create the job for them, and that conversation is critical to getting the jobs on. So how we rolled it out was we went out with a roadshow. We went round to all of our senior management teams. We did a comms plan, kind of drip feeding it in. It's coming. This is what it's going to be like. And then a bit closer to the roadshow started of going around to all senior managers. So yeah, shall I talk to that? So how do we pull the candidate through for the employee record? So with that, there are actually APIs built within Tribepad that allow you to call the data. So our IT team have created a report that calls the data out of Tribepad. So within the Insights platform, you can create a report that gives you all of the fields. It's amazing what you can do. I think that as Jason said, it can be translated to any platform. It can call the data in that way, and then it just translates and then is uploaded through our BizTalk hub. So it actually replicated exactly what we had before. Was it straightforward? I would say not 100%, but unfortunately our fault rather than Tripad's, and that is because we thought all the way through Jason had given us information about what we needed to do, and we thought that we would do that, but unfortunately because we were coming out of a shared service arrangement, that infrastructure belonged to somebody else, so we actually were able to then do it in a different way, and we found this, and you know, it's been absolutely perfect. It's been very, very straightforward. Can the system deal with multiple branding? Jason, you might want to talk to this, because the answer is absolutely yes, it can, can't it? You know, some of the projects that you work on have, you know, all different branded sites. So yes, it can do that, can't it, Jason?
Yeah, indeed it does. Yeah. So we're working on a project at the moment with West Northants, Cambridgeshire, as well as North Northants as well. And each of those organisations will have their own branded career site. Yeah. Or alternatively, you know, we could just, we're able to offer a single solution, almost like a job board with respective organisations being able to carry their own branding through their adverts, have their own application journey, branded email templates and comms, etc. So yeah, there is complete flexibility there.
And then we've got, how much work did you need to do around your processes before you started the process with Tribepad? I mean, that's a really interesting question. And unfortunately, it's like everything. Like, we had fairly well laid out processes, but of course, because we were changing who's responsible for what effectively, we had to do a fair amount of work on kind of reshaping that journey and who would take which part. But that was probably a much needed exercise for us anyway, to actually kind of understand what we wanted from recruitment. So it wasn't a wasted journey. We did do that in tandem. We bit off an awful lot. We also changed our DBS provider at the same time, you know, so it does feel like an awful lot has happened, and it certainly will be something that we'll now be revisiting to, you know, make sure that we are where we need to be. But yeah, it's possible to do those two things in tandem, because you build the system however you want it. So if you had a set process, you would be able to manage that, I'm sure.
Great, thank you so much. And thank you so much for the really good questions from colleagues. Mindful of time, we've only got a minute left. So what we'll do is we'll wrap up. As colleagues know, obviously this presentation has been recorded, and Grace will put it on the PPMA website so colleagues can go back and have a look at it. So can I sincerely thank you, Jason and Gillian, for your fantastic presentation, sharing your brilliant journey and the importance of recruitment tech, the candidate experience you mentioned, but also I think what's come through is very much the passion that you need behind it. So thank you so much for sharing that. Just finally from me, just to also thank everybody for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. Just to remind you, PPMA do have another webinar next Friday at the same time, which has been headed up by the Commercial Services Group, and that will focus on EDI. So one of those other key issues for us as HR practitioners to deal with. So we've come to the end of our half an hour. So thanks again to you, Jason, and to Gillian. I hope everybody else has enjoyed it, and we will see you soon, and have a good weekend. Take care, everybody.
Andy, thanks for that. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.